Oh, Dr. Mabuse, the gambler, the man without a shadow. Drama, 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 the return of the biggest drama puller on this side of YouTube. But I thought I'd do this video because I've spoken about Decca Heggie, and he is a source of Dr. Mabuse because he's always gambling and always playing games and always trying to pull a fast one on people. And I'll explain that more about what I mean trying to manipulate and pull a fast one on people as I go on with this. But this video isn't set out to attack JDP, even though I've got him in the title. It's just that he's created the situation that has enabled me or given me the opportunity to talk on this issue surrounding Decca Heggie, and how now and again people always make the mistake that to get the clicks and views, which is I'm certain what's happening in JDP's case, that if they get Decca on board and question him about the allegations, is he innocent or is he the victim of cyberbullying, that they'll get the views and that means that the channel will start to grow. But at some point they could turn around and say, well, I don't believe Decca, I don't like him, blah, 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 blah. And that will get them out of the controversy, which will come. Anyone that engages with Decca Heggie will get flack. There's no doubt about that. We've seen that happening so many times. No one has become a success from engaging with Decca Heggie, even though they may have turned around later and claimed that they didn't believe Decca or they thought he was a danger. It never works. They never get out of that trap. And I can see JDP walking right into this scenario, but he's doing it with open eyes because he has been told. And the warning, well, he tried it once before, which you did, JDP, if you hear this. You did try to get, this was when you were still in with Video Craig or Hedgehog Man. I'll call him Video Craig because I can't get used to this Hedgehog Man title he's got, so I'll keep on referring to him as Video Craig. But you went out at that time and invited Decca on to have, it was Decca and someone else, wasn't it? And you were acting as mediator or referee, an unbiased referee, which didn't make sense because at the time you were slating Decca in your daily Divvy Decca videos or whatever it was called. It was like a copy of what Video Craig was doing. Now that, I warned you at the time. I said, he's not going to do it. He'll say he'll do it to lead you down the garden path. Then he'll say last minute, I'm not doing it. And that's exactly what happened then. Immediately, it wasn't that you were unbiased or fair, were you, JDP? You were calling him, he must be a bacon, he must be this, he must be that because he never turned up. But you saw the flack you got there. At that point, it nearly destroyed your channel. So Decca did you a favour to you for not turning up and engaging with you. He did you a favour, but he did it not to do you a favour. He did it because he plays with people. And that's why I call him Dr. Mabuse. He plays, he likes to play with people, manipulate them, and he likes to make it known that that's what he's doing. Because he's got a narcissistic controlling personality, there's no doubt about that. But that's saying I'm talking in a broader sense outside of what JDP has decided to do by wanting to understand Decca, wanting to assess whether he's the victim of lies and bullying. He says he can see lies and bullying, or whether there's any truth to this. Well, the evidence out there, you don't have to actually engage with them to do it. Because the most damning in my mind are the YouTube swindler recordings, which you must know about, JDP, because I'm pretty sure you were on board with Video Craig when those recordings first came out. And there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. When you listen to those recordings, it's very damning on Decca. just say one thing. I'm not going to go into detail because it's distasteful. Decca Cashman and him giggling and laughing. That involved the death of a young child on Merseyside. Murder, I should say. What am I saying? Death, murder. And also the way he turned into an extremely scary, controlling man. This is a woman he'd never met. He'd only been speaking to for a few days. And yet he's controlling her. Verbally abusing her. What do you need to know? What do you need to know, JDP? What else do you need to know more than that? Now, I agree with JDP. Lies have been told about Decca, and I was the first one to jump on this and expose it and challenge it. It got to a point where it was getting ridiculous. And when the allegation came out from Video Craig, which was disgusting, and I pulled Video Craig on this, saying that, or asking a question, he tried to say he was just asking a question. No, he knew fully well what he was doing, unless he's not a moron, he must have known. Was asking the question about Decca's sister. And Decca, and I'm not going to repeat it here, but that was dragging an innocent child into this. And once you put something out there like that, you can't take it back. And it can follow that child around forever, or the entirety of their life. So, Video Craig was well out of order, quite right for people to condemn him. And then there was the dog issue. Now, what I said at the time, this has gone to the point where you've got a Lord Byron, mad, bad and dangerous to know situation. Because when you're talking about the things that Craig was saying at that time, they were the same kind of things that were levied at Lord Byron. Now, all that happened in Lord Byron's case, even though Lord Byron was a very wealthy man and successful, before the multiple scandalous and salacious rumours started surrounding him, what happened was he went into the stratosphere of popularity. And corseted women back then loved this. Oh, they were upset. He was like a rock star, the equivalent of a rock star back then. They were hiding in bushes trying to see him. They travelled miles to try and get just a glimpse of him, touch him or anything. He was that successful. And this is all down to the kind of things that Video Craig was putting out there about Decca. So Video Craig definitely need pulling about that. But I'll say one thing to JDP, and then I'll broaden this out, because I don't want to be saying this is just about JDP, because it makes it sound like he's the only one that's ever done this. He isn't. It's been done many, many times before. You're really doing yourself no favours and your self-image as a strong, intelligent man any favours when you keep on saying that you were brainwashed by Video Craig. No, you weren't. You're an adult. You're a father. You're a partner. So you can make your own decisions. I've never liked this when people say, that person made me do it. Look, this is exactly what Video Craig did when he was with Paddy Conroy, blaming Steve Wraith for a video he made. No, you're adults, you can't blame other people. This is one little bit of advice I'd give to everyone, and I've said this for years. When someone comes up to you and says that someone that didn't like you or gave you trouble, and they say, I'm sorry, I've realised that what I was getting told about you wasn't true. That person was saying this, that person was saying that, and I believed them, I'm sorry. Don't accept their apology. And certainly don't sympathise with them. What you say to them is, I tell you what, go away and come back when you're ready to apologise that you made that decision. You made that decision to listen to those rumours without checking the facts. And the facts are out there, because if the facts weren't out there that they were lies, you wouldn't be here now trying to apologise, but not apologising because you're actually pushing it onto someone else to blame. Then say you're sorry. And take full accountability that you made that decision to think that. You made that decision to make those allegations as well. Don't blame someone else. The duty was on you to go and do your research. But you chose not to do that, so you have to be, what's the word, man up, woman up, they up, non-binary up, and accept that you made that decision. Don't push on to Craig, but I think you're doing that because you've got to get the doorway open with Decca. And the only way to do that, I think you're seeing, is to make out that you're somehow a trilby mesmerised by the Svengali video Craig. Just doesn't hold water. Do agree with what you've said about video Craig in the past, why you distance yourself from him, over the sick jokes in his history and how he was a hypocrite going at Decca. Yeah, I do agree with you there. I've said that before. No argument there. I can't see why people can't see it themselves. Why that video Craig is being a hypocrite. Look, video Craig has said this many times before. Could not care less whether Decca's a danger to women, children, animals, alien lizards from outer space. He couldn't care less as long as he can make money out of it and exploit the situation. So that's the basis of it. Now, to start widening it out and not actually going on about JDP, because he's not doing anything that other people haven't tried and all regretted it at the end of the day doing. Of course, he wants this channel, like other people do, to grow. Nothing wrong in that. I've said this before many times when people come on saying, oh, clickbait names, or using the names for views. You know, and JDP has said this himself, quite rightly. You'd have to be some kind of moron to start a YouTube channel, be a creator, and then make videos that aren't going to get clicks and views. I've never understood that argument. You might as well say to a shopkeeper, how dare you advertise that you've got goods for sale in this shop? How dare you? You're just after money and sales, aren't you? Of course they are. That's the whole reason for doing it. So you can't slate someone for that. But it's not the first time JDP has done this. Did it a while ago when he was actually well in with Video Craig, still in with him and on board the cult, should we call it? On board the cult. And he invited Decca on, which looked preposterous considering the circumstances, things he'd been saying about Decca at that time himself, to have a discussion with someone else there. I can't remember who else was supposed to be there. And he would act as an unbiased party, like a referee. Absolutely nonsensical, stupid. Because as I say, JDP then was cutting into Decca and doing the Divvy Daily or whatever it was about Decca, which was like an offshoot of what Video Craig was doing. And I warned him, I said, Decca's going to say, yes, I'll do it. And I said, then he's going to let you down last minute. Exactly what happened. Decca plays with people. That's why I'm calling him Dr. Mabuse. Because he plays games with people. He loves to manipulate. Very next day, well, it wasn't even next day, the minute he knew that Decca wasn't going to come on, because Decca said he wasn't going to come on his live, changed his mind. Suddenly Decca was a bacon, he was this, he was that, it must be true about him. Whether Decca goes through with this time, I don't know. He might do, I don't know, but it will all be manipulation, and that's what Decca's about. And that's what people fail to know. Let's remind people about the Ronan Holden situation. Ronan Holden has regretted what he did. Ironically, Ronan Holden filled a space that I was supposed to fill, but refused to. This was the days when I didn't know, people really didn't know about Decca. The controversy was building up in the background, but it was just like a white noise in the background. You couldn't actually pin anything specifically on him, and he had loads of viewers. Loads of views. When he said he was getting massive views, he was getting absolutely much bigger than what he's getting now. And it's telling that the vast majority of people that used to watch him then, once the rumours and the facts started coming out about his behaviour, the vast majority, huge majority, have abandoned him and won't have anything to do with him, which is very telling. Because they can't all have been wrong and not done the homework on him. Now, Sean Atwood asked me out of the blue if I wanted to go on a live with him, Decca, and Ron Swanson. Now, when I heard the name Ron Swanson, that was enough for me to turn around and say, no chance, not going there. Not even considering going there, because I know what's surrounding, or I've heard enough about Ron Swanson to know, steer very, very, very clear of that man. Anyway, it went ahead, and it was, if I remember, it was Sean, Ron Swanson, and Steve Wright that were on that. And it all went, I don't know if that was the one with Jen. I think Jen was on there. Oh, wasn't it? I can't remember. It's phased now because so long ago. But it was, there was one with Jen on as well, wasn't there? But anyway, get past that. Then Ronan, Decca asked Ronan on, if I remember rightly, Ronan Holden. And that's where it started going all tits up for Ronan's channel. But essentially, it would have been me doing that. If I'd agreed to the first one, I would have been asked for the second one, because I knew that the plan was that I was to be there to make it look like I was agreeing that Decca was being bullied. At the time, I didn't know enough about Decca. I didn't know anything about Decca, really. So I didn't know. I knew there was these things being said about him, but I say it was white noise. It was nothing specific or out there. But I wasn't willing to run that risk of being on there and him use me to say he was being bullied. Anyway, I think it's fair to say Ronan, if he ever wants to, because I'm planning to do lives with Ronan. He's a very interesting character, Ronan Holden. I think he's regretted that ever since, because he had him on his own channel as well, and it backfired, something horrific. And this is what can happen to people. I've never known anyone that has engaged or tried to be fair or open-minded with Decca that hasn't come away regretting it. They've either gone way off YouTube, or you hear very little of them. Very, very little. It's toxic. In other words, Decca, whether you believe he's innocent, bullied, whatever, he carries toxicity with him. Now, do I have sympathy with Decca? Not one shred of sympathy. And I've said this for a long time as well. Because Decca, why I'm calling him Dr. Mabuse, is he plays games. He manipulates people. He loves manipulating people. I've done videos about it, analysing them. Looking at his videos and analysing them, showing you where he's manipulating people. He's making fools of them, making idiots of them by telling them lies, manipulating them. And you can see the grin on his face as he realises that people are still supporting him. Do you remember that one he had? Was it Big Tony, who was absolutely the most pathetic person I've ever heard? And Big Tony will be, oh, Decca, I'm with you, Decca. You're a brave man, Decca. Yeah, buddy. We're all... Oh, God. It was like, please, someone get a jar of Vaseline and get him out his ass. Please. Slide him back out of his ass. He was so far up. He's vanished, hasn't he? Very, very quickly. And this is what happens. So that it's not worth the effort. I don't know why people have to do this. They go out and they champion someone. Oh, I'm going to champion this person. No, you can have a view on someone. You can say, I agree with this person, or I don't agree. But why put your own reputation on the line, especially when it's someone like Decca who does play along with the controversy and enjoys the controversy he does. I saw this with his relationship with Video Craig. Don't forget, he was asking Video Craig if they could join together and make a business out of it. This to and fro. That's when Video Craig was getting success through his... It wasn't called the Decca Daily back then, was it? It was called something else, but he was getting success through it. But also was Decca, and this is the important thing. Decca was getting massive success through that as well. through what Craig was doing. It was keeping Decca relevant. And Craig refused to do that. Whether he'll still refuse to do it, I don't know, because Craig isn't getting the same views he used to get. Certainly isn't getting those views. So that could change, because I've said from day one about Video Craig couldn't care less whether Decca is a danger to women or children. It's just what Video Craig can make out of it. That's all he cares about. I mean, he doesn't have a moral compass from what I can see. And it's also telling that Decca has really never tried to get Video Craig to stop. Look, we all saw what happened over the Paddy Conroy issue. All that needed to be done was a face-to-face threat to Craig, and suddenly he's seeing the error of his ways. Oh, hallelujah, so did Damascus and all that. And he's apologising and taking his videos down. That's all that Decca would have to do. Knock on his door and say, unless you apologise for this, guess what? Your ass will be tasting some tarmac. That's all he's got to do, because Craig, like most, and I'm sorry, Craig, you're not a bully. You can be a bully. And I'm not talking about Decca. I'm talking about, in general, the way you've treated other people, you're not a bully. But he seems to have a vicious hatred of Decca, and I say I'm not convinced it's because Decca is a danger. But that's all he'd have to do, but he doesn't, and it's telling that he doesn't. Because he wants it to continue. This is all going, you see, he's come back, he's fresh-faced, Decca. You're starting to get the indication there, and you'll be getting there as he continues, because the more money he starts getting in, the more you'll hear this, because he'll be doing this. He'll have the money. But he'll start manipulating. He'll start playing the victim again, lying, making it obvious that he's lying, just to see how stupid people are that will continue to follow him and praise him. And anyone that does touch him will end up regretting it. That's the deal with Decca. And I can see it's going down the same path. Decca can only rely on infamy. That's all he's got. And that's what brings the clicks and views in, his infamy. But it always goes tits up on him. Now, people like JDP are thinking somehow they'll find the truth in the matter. You know, go for it. But you've got to also accept the fact that, yeah, you'll get the views, but that will only be for a short period. Then when Decca's bored and moves on, which he will, he'll move on. He'll not be interested in talking to someone like JDP all the time. What will happen is suddenly the channel crumbles and you find out that you've attracted all this hate against you because you dared to talk to Decca, you dared to give him the benefit of the doubt. And you can't give him the benefit of the doubt when you hear those YouTube swindler recordings. You can't. It's obvious. You know, Decca Cashman being a horrific, controlling, narcissistic abuser to a woman he'd never actually met. He'd only been speaking to her online for a few days, and he's totally in control of her. Totally. The evidence is out there that he's a danger from his own mouth. You don't need to have him on the show to work out whether he's a victim or not. You don't. End of story, you don't. So it's just absolute nonsense to say, well, I want to find out. It's out there. It's out there. It's out there. You don't have to go question him about it. You can see it. And he's hardly going to come on and say, oh, I am a danger to women and children. I say, just go and see what's actually out there coming out of his own mouth. That's all you've got to listen to. But anyway, I've gone on for a while, but I just thought I'd say that. So I'll leave that, my lovelies. But as I say, JDP, referring back to you, I've said this yet. Don't start crying if you find that when you've done this, if he agrees to it, you're not going to be able to step back from it, even though Decca may walk away from you. You're not going to be able to step away from it, especially since this is the second time you've tried this. And you only have to look what's happened to other people. No one's actually grown the channel from supporting Decca. Not one person has grown the channel from supporting Decca. Completely the opposite has happened. But you're an adult. It's up to you to do what you want to do. So anyway, I'll leave that, my lovelies. Bye-bye for now.
The man without shadow.